We are now calling this meeting of Brooklyn Community Board 9 to order. I have 7:06 p.m. I want to thank everyone for coming this evening. We have a large agenda. There's a lot of work to get done, but we're going to try and be as expeditious as possible. I just want to take a brief moment actually to introduce our officers of Brooklyn CB9. To my far left, we have our second vice chair, Ms. Elise Robertson. To my immediate left, we have our first vice chair, Mr. Ethan Norville. To my right, we have our executive secretary, Ms. Linda Watson-Lord. To her right, we have our treasurer, Mina Lagute. And on the end of the dais, we have our member at large, Mr. Benjamin Rosenberg. Again, thanks to everyone. I would just like to remind everyone, please make sure you have signed in for the public commentary period if you haven't done so already. At this time, we are going to read the rules of order for Brooklyn Community Board 9. I'm going to try my best to go through this as quickly as possible, but we need to make sure that for everyone understands the rules for comment. So, this meeting of New York City Community Board 9 is called to order on October 28th at Francis DeSales School for the Deaf, 260 Eastern Parkway, Brooklyn, New York, 11225. On under the applicable statutes of New York State, New York City Charter, bylaws of Brooklyn Community Board 9, and Robert's Rules of Order. All community board meetings shall be conducted pursuant to the New York State Public Officers Law, the New York City Charter, the Open Meetings Law, and any other applicable laws. The community board's bylaws shall govern meetings where they do not conflict with applicable laws. Robert's Rules of Order shall govern meetings where they do not conflict with applicable laws and the bylaws. All community board members shall be provided a reasonable opportunity to address the community board on any matter of the board or any matter that pertains to the board's mission. During general board meetings, members of the public may be allowed to speak during the portion designated, the meeting designated as the public comment session. Subject to any modifications and guidelines established by the chair of the community board or his or her designee, each public speaker shall sign in and give a brief description of what he or she will comment upon prior to speaking. Public speakers will be allotted a time limit of 3 minutes, each commencing from the beginning of the speaker's remarks. Time cannot be shared or allotted to other speakers. If the chair or his or her designee determines that there is not sufficient time at the meeting, the public comment session period may be deferred to either the end of the general board meeting or the beginning of the next general board meeting. Public comment period shall be 30 minutes in duration. During general board meetings and committee meetings, collectively board meetings, and outside of the public comment session portions of meetings, members of the public may ask questions and comment upon agenda items only when recognized by the chair, committee chair, or their designees. And I just want to make a quick note, because of the time frames, we really will probably have to limit questions and comments during the public session and during public comment. All board members and members of the public shall conduct themselves in a courteous, professional, and orderly manner. Obscene, threatening, or harassing language, slander, threats of violence, personal attacks of any kind, or offensive comments that target or disparage any ethnic, racial, age, or religious group, gender, sexual orientation, or disability status are prohibited at all board meetings. No member of the public shall display signs or placards in a disruptive manner, disruptively applaud participants in debate, or engage in disorderly conversation or other disorderly behavior which may disrupt the proceedings of the meeting. Audio and video recordings of board meetings are permitted unless they interfere with the meetings in accordance with the Open Meetings Law. The recording must be conducted from a fixed location and in a manner which does not interfere with the meeting. The chair or his or her designee shall have the discretion to prohibit video or audio recording that interferes with the meeting. Recording is not permitted during executive session. Any board member or member of the public who uses obscene, threatening, or harassing language, slander, threats of violence, personal attacks of any kind, or offensive comments that target or disparage any ethnic, racial, age, or religious group, gender, sexual orientation, or disability status, or who otherwise becomes disorderly while at a board meeting shall be removed from the board meeting at the discretion of the chair or his or her designee. No member of the board or member of the public shall be permitted to speak on a cellular phone during community board meetings while the meeting is in progress other than for emergency reasons. All cellular telephones are required to be turned off or in vibrate mode. During general board meetings, the enforcement of this code of conduct shall be conducted under the direction of the chair or his or her designee. During committee meetings, the enforcement of the code of conduct shall be conducted by the committee chair or his or her designee. The New York City Police Department and Building Security may assist with the ejection of any individual from a board meeting or committee meeting for violating this code of conduct. This was adopted on October 26, 2016. And just to summarize, all we're asking for is that we're respectful. We are coming together to have conversations about issues that we are near and dear to us that affect us in different ways. So, you know, we have diversity of thought, diversity of opinion, and we just ask that that's respected while we're in the space. And please just also be mindful, even if somebody says something that is distasteful or you disagree with, to please let them finish what they're saying so that way, you know, we can make sure that everyone gets to speak their mind. And it's a place that we can have an open and honest dialogue. Thank you very much for your attention to that. At this time, we are now going to go to item 2. On the agenda, we have a CPC application update for 975 Millstreet Avenue. Do we have a representative for 975 this evening? Please come to the front. I think you can speak from, is that the, where we have the microphone? Yeah. You can speak into the microphone. You can also just give your name for the record.
My name is Stephanie Marazzi. I'm an attorney at Christensen and Epstein, and I represent the developer of 975 Millstreet Avenue, which is the former Associated Supermarket site. Many of you probably have seen that it's well in construction. It will be a 9-story building with 30% income-restricted units, about 330 units total. The site received earlier this year a fresh certification and authorization. This board, I believe, voted unanimously to approve that fresh approval. Unfortunately, they had to come back a second time for a different kind of authorization. This is for a 1-foot increase to the width of the curb cut on Clove Road, serving the cellar parking garage. Unfortunately, late in the process, the Department of Transportation decided that we needed an extra foot for this curb cut. It's going to go from 22 to 23 feet in width. Building located on Clove Road, which is the sort of diagonal road on the other, the building fronts on both Nostrand and Clove Road, and they're probably located at the intersection of Clove Road and Malbone Street. We're also requesting a waiver of, there's a requirement that the curb cut be 50 feet from an intersection, but the Department of Buildings Commissioner can waive that, has indicated that he would do so. So it's really just about a 1-foot width waiver for this curb cut. And we appeared at the Land Use Committee meeting on October 8th, and I believe they are going to allow public comment on this item until November 11th. So we're just going to, you know, see if there's any public comment and to advise the commission. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, actually, if you could for just one moment. So, as the applicant stated, so this is for a curb cut, for one additional foot on the curb cut located at Clove Road, the intersection of Clove Road and Malbone. So the process is that it's been open to the board for a 45-day comment period. So members of the community can give comment during that period. The board will not be voting on this, but we will be accepting testimony this evening during the public comment session. Or if you wish to submit, you can also, there's information about how to submit commentary as well to DCP with regards to this. I believe the commentary is due, I think, around the 11th of November, if I'm correct. So that will need to be submitted by that time to DCP. All right, at this time, are there any questions? We can take a couple of questions with regards to this. Ms. Westerdahl, I see you. Is there anyone else who wishes to? All right, we have 3 questions. We'll take those. So we have Ms. Westerdahl, Ms. Chung, and I see Ms. Parker. Hold on one second. If we could please get Mike.
Hi. Other than the curb cut, you mentioned something else, an intersection that the DOB said they were going to give you approval for. I'm not sure what that was.
So the curb cut waiver is for both the width of the curb cut and the location. Curb cuts have to be beyond 50 feet of an intersection of 2 streets. But there is a provision in the zoning that allows the Buildings Commission to waive the location requirement. So it's part of our application to the City Planning Commission, but the Buildings Commissioner has said that they would waive that.
So what's the intersection?
Clove and Malbone.
Oh, because it's right.
It's right
there.
after
Oh,
the
all right.
intersection.
All right. I just wasn't sure about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Suki.
So at our Land Use Committee meeting, I asked 2 questions because these are questions the community has asked. If the width waiver and the waiver of the location are not granted, what are the alternatives? What will you do?
I think if they weren't granted, then the Department of Transportation would place up the 22-foot-wide curb cut because there is a requirement to have a parking garage, and the garage locations are even set.
And where would the curb cut be located?
It would be at the intersection of Clove and Elbow.
So the Department of Buildings has issued their approval.
They have, and I sent a letter to the community board addressed to you, Chair Tron, with that waiver. So
I
I'll make sure you get it.
And so the other question that we asked was whether the Associated Supermarket, which was something that the community fought for, and they wanted an affordable supermarket in the area because there's really nothing, there's certainly nothing to the east in our district. So I would expect that there may be people driving there from, up to 3/4 of a mile away. Is the supermarket going to have direct access to the parking garage? Because I understand the entrance to the supermarket is on the north corner of the lot on Mill Street.
That's something that they're still looking at in terms of access from the garage to the supermarket, in terms of options.
And could you tell me how many of the required parking spaces in the garage are for the supermarkets? Yes.
Let me check that. So actually, none of the spaces are specifically allocated to the supermarket, but there are 27 spaces allocated to retail generally, because there will be other retail space in the building.
Okay, and what would be the, I'm sorry, just one more question. What would be the cost of parking in the supermarket for a half hour or an hour if someone were to come shop at the supermarket?
The zoning doesn't regulate cost. That's
What do you expect it to be?
I honestly can't answer that. I don't know.
But there would be a cost.
I can't even say that, I don't know.
Okay, well, is that something that you could
Suki,
answer for the
okay, we have to move
community?
on. Okay, Suki.
Potentially.
Suki, we do have to move on. Okay. Ms. Hartley.
So in last week's New York Times, this was actually featured, and it was one of the issues speaking about antiquated parking lots. Within that, I actually walk past this intersection and/or have used this intersection previous to the construction taking place and the deconstruction of the Associated Supermarket. What I have found within that space is that has always been a decent amount of traffic, but with this apartment building being placed there will probably be an extreme uptick in regards to that. So within this, what I'd like to know is what are we doing in regards to regulation of safety there? Because what I do see now is a rather reckless amount of driving coming down from Clove Road. And then when we now place it where people are coming up New York Avenue, busing a left, and then coming through that parking space, what will be the issue? Because previous, when Associate was there, people utilized Nostrand Avenue coming down south, then making a left turn coming into Associate. That's not the routine now. What the routine is now, from what we're seeing from the plans, is coming up either New York Avenue and then making a left, and/or coming down Montgomery, and then coming down Clove Road. So what are we doing in regards to the safety components?
Well, in terms of pedestrian safety, I know that there's a builder's pavement plan that is approved along with the new building application that requires, I believe they have to do the crosswalks at each intersection. So there will be a little more pedestrian infrastructure.
Right, so here's the thing. We have another plan that is speaking about the issues of injury that take place with individuals on bike lanes, et cetera, okay? But are we actually, I mean, you're coming to us, and the questions that we're posing for this, your answers aren't concrete enough, no pun intended, and so we're not able to actually find out what's going to be taking place. What I do know and what I can tell the board here is that within that space currently, there is a high amount of reckless driving that comes out of that gas station, that comes down Malbone, that comes down Montgomery, and that makes that turn. And then one of the reasons why we appreciated that we had any incoming traffic coming from Nostrand into Associated is that it was regulated by lights and by stop signs and by humps. And I don't see any of that in that plan. And that's what I fear, is that when children are coming from IS-61, or when people are utilizing that backspace as a shortcut, we fear that amount of traffic. and that recklessness that has been taking place, that has sadly become a norm within our area.
Okay, if I can answer that one, actually, very quick. Actually, that one is probably out of the scope of the applicant, because they're asking for the curb cut to be compliant with whatever regulation. Safety issues are a separate conversation that Department of Transportation needs to address, and my understanding is there are plans to rehabilitate that street, if I'm correct. So they will be rehabilitating that, and part of that should be safety concerns as well, traffic control, and how they're monitoring that as well. But that's separate from this conversation.
It's separate. When will we know of that? Will that be something that will be spoken to in a future meeting or upon completion of the building? Do we have any?
We can begin that, we can make that inquiry to DOT now to figure out what the plan is in terms of, what they're going to do about rehabilitating the street, plus safety controls. So if they're going to have stop signs, traffic lights, what are they going to do? But we can make that inquiry and we can share that with the board.
I will ask our traffic engineer as well if there are any improvements being proposed.
All right, okay, so thank you very much. So at this point, if there's anyone who wishes to have additional commentary, that will happen during public comment, do that. Or additionally, Dante, later on, could you please give the address for where they need to send public comment to City Planning Commission? And that'll be shared later on during the meeting this evening, if you wish to give additional commentary. All right, okay, this evening we are now to item 3, applications for Landmarks Preservation Commission. Is there a representative for 25 Maple Street? Okay, you come forward, please.
Very much. Good evening to everybody. I think that you all have been handed out these handouts with project information, and hopefully board members have already received them previously. So thank you. My name is Talisha Sandel. I'm an architect. I'm currently working on 25 Maple Street, which is a single-family, semi-detached home between on Maple Street, between Flatbush and Bedford Avenue. You can see on page 1, I have a little landmarks, historic photo on page 1, and I will admit that I submitted a bit of a revised proposal that didn't make it to the handout, but we will walk through this handout that you have, and we'll make it through to the end. If you turn the cover sheet around, you'll see a series of maps. These are different maps that are available on the site. First one is the site survey. There's a plot plan on this, also landmarks, historic district map, as well as a sort of zoomed in aerial photo of 25 Maple Street. I want to say that 25 Maple Street is one of 12 homes on Maple Street that were all designed in the same fashion. And they are unique on this block, along the whole block. And again, you can see the picture of Maple Street on the front cover, as well as if you go to the next page, you'll see 2 photos of the existing facade. I want to also mention that Landmarks has previously approved restoring the historic windows at the first floor for this home, as well as the second floor, and that's the facade elements that you're seeing on the drawing on LPC 02. What I'm here tonight to present is on the back side of LPC 02, which is we are proposing to have an extension, sort of an enclosed porch put on the back of 25 Maple Street, as well as we are also proposing to put up a fence in the back. So as you can see on the back side with the existing rear facade photos, there is already an existing stair enclosure, as well as a tiny alcove on the back of 25 Maple stage, is to extend that little alcove out to the property line, as well as I mentioned before, to put up a fence. And you can see on OPC 05, that drawing, you'll see that there's an existing / demolition drawing of the rear yard and that little alcove. That again, the stair enclosure will remain as is. We'll probably replace the roof because it's a little dated. And you can see on the right-hand side the proposed rear facade. So we're proposing to extend that alcove to make it sort of, as I mentioned before, an enclosed porch, really, so that the owner can have a little breakfast area. We're also proposing a rear deck at the backyard, and you see on LPC 06, we're also proposing to put a fence. Now, from Lincoln Road, there is one sliver of space where you can actually see the rear facade of 25 Maple Street. And I guess we're lucky because we're the only house on the block where you can actually see from an adjacent street. But that is where we are proposing to put up a fence to match the height of the existing single-car garage that's back there. We're proposing a cedar fence. CD9 or the commission would rather extend the brick of the garage over. We are very willing to do that. The whole point is that the owner would like to enclose that rear yard a little bit further in order to provide more privacy, as well as so that he can create a little garden oasis for himself. And I'm going to refer you back to drawing LPC 04, where you can see the first floor proposed plan that shows what that built-out alcove is going to be. It also shows way in the back at the properties line, which is at the top of the drawing, the existing CMU wall that's back there, as well as a line indicating where our proposed cedar fence is going to be. So, in summary, that is the proposal that is on the table, and that is up for your review this evening. Just to review, this is a proposal to have an enclosed porch, what we're calling an enclosed porch, because it's really essentially what it is, as well as a rear deck, and to put up a fence to provide more privacy for the owner's future garden that would be in the rear yard at 25 Maple Street.
Thank you very much for the presentation. At this time, we can take a couple of questions for the applicant. Ms. Westerveld, I see you. Ms. John, I see you. And is anyone else who has a question? Mr. Christensen? Any other questions? All right, we're going to close on those 3 names.
Hi,
Go ahead.
I would like to know how you're gonna deal with the drainage, because these yards usually have a drain in the back, which can immensely affect the neighbor if it's blocked or removed. So I wanna know, because usually the drainage is about where that porch would be, so I wanna know what's gonna happen with the drainage.
Currently, there is no existing drain back there.
All those houses have drains in the back.
However, if you look at the drawings, our extension, our little alcove extension is going no further out than the existing alcove. It's going no further out into the backyard.
There's no drainage in the backyard? There's no drain?
No. But we have had a geotech engineer come in, so we'll be fully examining everything that needs to be done in that backyard in order to properly
There's supposed to be
drain,
drain.
in order to properly drain it, in order to properly protect neighbors, as well as the owner of the house. Oh, yeah, we don't plan on taking any drains out, as a matter of fact, we might consider. Well, it definitely wasn't the owner, but, we'll definitely, maybe even including in an extra drain, just because, as I mentioned before, the owner does want to have, sort of garden oasis, and depending on what he ends up doing back there, he might put in, some extra, provisions just to.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Ms. Chung?
Hi, so I did run this application by the Lefferts Manor Association, which is the historic district, and I don't think there are any concerns about the design, about the appearance of the fence or the extension. But I was wondering if you're adding square footage with this.
So we're not exactly adding square footage. As I said, there is an alcove that already exists, and really, this is not considered, like a true
Well,
addition to the building.
What do you mean not
but more so-
exactly? Because it looks bigger on the drawings.
Right, yes. What I mean by that is that we're actually changing what's existing and making it an enclosed porch, essentially.
So it would be additional interior square footage.
No, because by DOB standards, you can have a sort of enclosed porch or enclosed balcony without adding to the square footage. There are provisions within zoning as well.
So you've already gotten this approved by DOB?
No, of course not, because we've been going through
Okay.
the process of
Okay,
getting.
okay. Well, I'm sure you're aware that these houses
So-
don't have any additional square footage.
Right, yes, I do. I'm well aware of that, and that's why in this proposal that we're talking with the client, we have discussed this
Okay,
extensively,
okay.
so, yes. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more question from Mr. Richards.
Thank you. Just to be clear, the existing alcove and what's proposed, neither are visible from the street, right?
So you can see that there is a sliver of this existing alcove that can be seen. On the last page, you'll see two photographs. One is what the view is from Lincoln Place.
No, I meant from Maple Street. They're not visible from Maple Street.
No, because they're both in the rear yard.
Right, right. And just curious, the fence, if all you were doing was adding the fence, would that require landmarks approval?
Well, according to landmarks, it does. I mean,
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so at the end of this, when we get to the business session, we'll be voting on the application. You are more than welcome to stay, but you do not have to. At the end of, once we've made a determination, we will advise. So, okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
thank you.
Okay, do we have the applicant for 203 Maple Street here with us this evening?
Hi, good, thank you. My name is Lee Solomon. I'm the co-owner, along with my husband Bryce Guyan, of 203 Maple. Thank you for taking the time to review our New York City landmarks application to replace our non-original front-facing windows. I don't know that everybody has the PowerPoint, but I'm just looking for some view. Slide 1 just shows the existing conditions of the home as of now. Slide 2 shows some shots of those basement windows from the sidewalk. Our home is a single-family house on Maple Street between Bedford and Rogers, aka Maple 2, in the Lefferts Manor Historic District. It's in poor condition and undergoing extensive repairs right now. The row of townhouses that 203 Maple is a part of was built between 1909 and 1911. This road and block is remarkable in part because of the consistency in the front facade finishes. So in the PowerPoint, I showed some of the historic conditions as well as the current streetscapes. Those are slide 4 and 5.
Can you speak into the mic?
Oh, I can't hear, sorry. Can you guys hear better now? Okay. I'm a nervous public speaker, so I'm sorry. Slide 6 to 13 shows the current conditions of the exterior of the building. Our front basement windows were replaced at some point after the home was built. They are now degraded beyond repair. They're mostly broken or cracked panes were put in haphazardly using scraps of glass in a variety of colors and textures. The windows, as of now, don't conform to the original architecture of the building, the row, or the block, so they stick out like a sore thumb. Slide 14 shows the proposed window drawings. I just want to point out also slide 15 shows the precedent. The picture to the right shows what we're looking to do, which is an example at 201 Maple, which is right next door to us. So there's a shot of that, slide 15. To address these issues that were mentioned above, we proposed replacing the windows with handmade wooden historically accurate replicas that will look appropriate within the row. We are working with Airflow Windows. It's a multi-generational family-run Brooklyn business that has a lot of experience making New York City landmark-approved windows. We have a representative here, so if there's any technical questions after, Joseph could answer those. This approach will not only make our home habitable and enhance its energy efficiency, it's going to restore the building's original character. Slides 16 and 17 shows examples of the current windows on the row for the basement. Some of them are on our side, some on the other side. Slide 18 shows a letter from engineers that we're working with. And as our engineer explains, our current windows don't meet the Department of Buildings light and air requirements for a habitable space, since the glass is not clear and they're not operable, because they're just don't work at all. And they're dangerous because there's holes in them with the cracked glass. So we're asking you to please approve the application to help preserve the historic integrity of the home and the block and the historic district. And we appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, we'll take a couple of questions for the applicant. Are there any questions?
Of course.
Call for a second time. Are there any questions for the applicant regarding the property or the work being done? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much. So the same. So we will be we will be discussing this application when we get to the business session, and we will vote on it then. You are more than welcome to stay, but you don't have to. When we have a determination, we'll make sure we communicate that through the district office.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for the presentation. Okay, at this time, we are now going to move on to item 4, applications for the New York State Liquor Authority. We have 4 applications this evening. First application is for 1285 Coffee and Cocktails, located at 1285 Nostrand Avenue, between Parkside and Clarkson Avenues. This application is a renewal of a liquor, wine, beer, and cider license, also known as a full license. Do we have a representative for, go on up, sir.
Hi, good night, everybody. My name is Richard Raphael. I'm actually the owner of 1285 Coffee and Cocktails, known as North Shore. We've been open for about 5 years. Pretty much started up through COVID. We're pretty much a full bar and full menu from the kitchen. And this is pretty much a renewal of the liquor license today. Any questions?
Yeah, that's my job. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much. So we'll be considering that this evening. All right. Okay, item B, we have the applicant is Amy Tai Bistro, located at 585 Madison Avenue, between Lincoln Road and Maple Street. This is also a renewal for a wine, beer, and cider license. And we have a representative.
Good evening, everyone. I'm China Gonzalez. I'm from Amy Thai Bistro. Thai restaurant. Mostly we do dine, take out, and delivery. For the liquor, we don't sell that much, but we just want to have like options
Okay, my bad, the address is 545 Flatbush Avenue. So we'll make sure we correct that for the record. 545 Flatbush. Okay, are there any questions for this applicant? Okay, hearing none, thank you very much. We'll be considering adjourned business. Okay, item C on the agenda is Bar Bayou, located at 1066 Nostrand Avenue, between Lefferts and Lincoln Road. This is also a renewal for a liquor, wine, beer, and cider license. Do we have a representative? Okay, sir. Oh, floor is yours, sir.
So, Bar Bayou is going to be in business.
Can't hear you.
Sorry. We're going to be in business about 6 years, starting in December, and we have become a jazz bar that helps with food outreach and organization that helps small businesses hire jazz bands. So we have libraries and 5 nights a week now. And we're open 7 days, and it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant? Call for a second time. Any questions? Okay.
Oh, 1066 Mill Street.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much. Okay, this time, the next applicant we have, item D, is Sweet Catch, located at 1222 Nostrand Avenue, between Hawthorne and Winthrop Streets. This application is a renewal for a full license of liquor, wine, beer, and cider. Do we have a representative? If you just go and just tell us a little bit about the.
Hello, I'm Savannah Jackson, I'm the owner of Sweet Catch. Brooklyn, located at 1222. No? Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Colwana Jefferson. I'm the owner of Sweet Catch Brooklyn, located at 1222 Nostrand Avenue. It's a seafood, soul food restaurant. We do have a full bar. We have brunches. We've been open for 2 years now, and yeah, it's been a journey.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any questions for this applicant? Call for a second time. Are there any questions for the applicant? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much. We'll be voting on your application during the business portion.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Well, let me just call. Do we have a representative from the governor's office this evening? Okay, not yet. They did advise that they might be running a little bit late. So what we will do is, when the representative gets here, we will interrupt that portion of the agenda to allow them to speak, okay, with respect to Downstate Hospital. Okay, but at this time, so we're going to postpone item number 5. We are going to go to the public comment period. As we read in the rules of conduct, the public comment period is for 30 minutes exactly. All speakers have maximum 3 minutes. Please ask that you adhere to that. The district manager will let you know when you have 30 seconds left. So at that time, please begin the process of summarizing your comments and being ready to grant to the next speaker. Okay, I do, well, hold on. Do we have Aziz Alimi? Yes.
Some of us are sort of smelling a fuel oil smell. And I don't know if people are smelling it or not, but it's okay to like this.
Okay, thank you for that. Dante, team, you'll check? Okay, so the district office team is going to check it out. I'm sorry, go ahead. Hold on 1 second. Okay, all right. Ethan's going to keep track of your time. He'll let you know when you have 30 seconds left. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aziz. I'm the Community and Outreach Liaison for the Kings Against Violence Initiative, otherwise known as Kabi. We are a youth development organization that operates directly out of Kings County Hospital. We work in partnership with Downstate Hospital across the street, with 5 high schools, 1 middle school, 1 high schools, being Clark and Urban Dove. And so essentially I'm really here just to talk a little bit about the services that we provide. We are a youth development organization, as I mentioned earlier, but really focused on public safety. Public safety, looking at public safety through the lens of public health, which ensures that we're looking at it from housing, food insecurity, employment, education, and so on and so forth. And so if you have any young children between the ages of 13 and 27, please let me know. We have programs designed to support them. All of our programs are fully funded to ensure that we're paying the young person who is interacting with our programs to be paid for their time. But more than that, every single program is designed to ensure that they're taking a skill away from each one of our programs that they can either use to apply for a job or put on a college application. We also do support with college application with the support of CUNY. So we're in partnership with CUNY and Birmingham Community College, Medgar Evers College, and Brooklyn College. And so if you have any of those needs, and we also now have added our victim assistance program. So if you've been impacted by any form of gun violence and you are seeking support to get any level of assistance, that includes funding, replacing any items, please let us know. My email is azeez@kabibrooklyn.org. My phone number is 332-238-0038. Again, that is 332-238-0038. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, this time, next on the speakers list, we have Ms. Cheryl Bernard.
Sure. The number is 332-238-0038. Yes. Excuse me? So we serve all boroughs, so we're in all boroughs, but also in Albany and DC.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bernard?
Good night, everyone. My name is Cheryl Bernard, and I form with our community a little group called Say No to Less. I don't know how many of you heard me, many of you are tired hearing me, I'm sorry, but I'm still here fighting. I actually go to the website, saynotoless.org, and just read up on what they're trying to do in the community. They want to build about 13 buildings within a 5-block radius in our neighborhood. So it's just a little much. I have on my phone a video, just 2 from this last men sample the area. And I know that, I just have a question. I don't know who to address it to, but do we receive any response about CB9's oppositional letter that we sent out?
No, we haven't received
We didn't receive any response yet.
Not yet.
Okay, did we receive any response on 703 Midwood?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No response.
Have we received any information about the deed situation with this land, where they want to build private property? Did we receive any information about the deed?
Sent it to the law department, so.
This is waiting as well.
There.
Okay, and also there was a community person that came and spoke. There was someone in the community that were elderly and they had a problem, an issue with the men that were murdering. There's a men's shelter around there. And the men, I have it on my phone, this is just a sample, just from this morning alone. The community is a little scared. There's a lot of women that walk down the block. In the area of Winthrop Street, Clarkson, and Albany, it's very dark, and then they have men hanging out around there. There's no police response, there's no police patrolling, there's no police in the area. I remember someone came, I don't remember which meeting it was, but they did speak about some of the complaints that the community had. Could we look into getting some more police in that area? If we can't protect the community now, what's going to happen when we want to build up all these projects in the area? So we just ask that someone will please listen to us. I know you guys are doing what you can. Elected officials, we would like to hear from you as well. Meet with us, please talk with us.
deal with the community that stands to be affected. We just ask that you get involved and please try to help us in any way you can. SayNoToLess.org, just look it up and just educate yourself. And remember to vote. Clarkson, Albany,
Thank you, Ms. Bernard. Very quickly, I did have a conversation with the 71st Precinct, and we have invited them to come to our next public safety meeting. So I would ask if it's possible if you could come, or any representatives, because that's part of what we're trying to make sure that they understand the issues that are going on there. So,
thank you, everyone. Oh, yeah, we will.
Have we looked into the actual companies that are behind this, some of the non-for-profit slash for-profits that are behind the buildings of this?
very good.
This is a New York State land, just like Creedmoor is a New York State land. But if you look at the comparison, Creedmoor stands to build about 2,500 units with parking, over 58 acres. But by us, we're only 7 acres and we're putting 1,100 units with no parking. 3 shelters, a MICA shelter, which is the mentally ill, chemically addicted, a men's shelter, and a senior shelter. 3 shelters, in addition to the other shelters that they have not far, in addition to the halfway houses that we already have. They just want to destroy our neighborhood because they can. People have given up and they've given up on elected officials, they've given up on a lot because no one is hearing us. But it's a New York State land, and ESD is the one that's going to be building it.
We can't, we took a quick question, but we have to move on. But I do have a couple of comments with regards to that when I get to my chairman report as well, so we'll discuss that. All right, but thank you for the comments.
So Fred, will it be DHS operated or HRA operated or will
That-
it be privatized?
Very quickly, that's some of the conversation we've had. The district office has actually reached out to the Empire State Development Corporation to get information because it has been a while since they've actually interfaced with us. So part of what we want to do is make sure we understand what plans are, where they currently stand. But I think absolutely we want to make sure that there are things in place in terms of services to make sure that there are, that we're not having the issues we're having now. So if it's between security, if it's between cleaning, if it's between making sure the vendors who are in the area are properly taking care of their people, those are the conversations we want to have. So we're trying to convene that with Empire State Development. But there'll be more about that, and I'll discuss that a little bit during my chairman's report as well. Thank you for the question. Okay, Hector Robertson. Is Hector here? All right, we're going to skip Hector Robertson and just go on.
I just have one item, Chairman.
No, I mean, go ahead.
Is there a way we can get DOT in here to try to explain why is it that we have all these pop-ups of car shares everywhere in our community? And exactly how they're been shared around the city because it seems like we have so many of these car shares 3 and 4 blocks consecutively. And then when you're walking either direction in our neighborhood, you don't actually see them. So we need to get DOT in here. We need to know exactly what the ratio is across the city in neighborhoods. And most importantly, those revenues, where are they going? The city's getting their share, they're getting their share. What are they doing with that money? They're putting that money in our neighborhood. We need to really find out what is going on with that program. That program is not applied equally across the city. So take a moment to walk in our neighborhood, take a look and see what the transportation committee, you need to go through the neighborhood and take a look at those things. And make sure that DOT does not go crazy putting these car shares. If you walk on Montgomery alone, all the way between Montgomery and Rogers, you have 3 and 4 and 5 corners full of car shares.
No, thank you very much for that. That is actually open, that's an active agenda item of the Transportation Committee. There'll be more about that. Right, so there is open communication with DOT at this point, and there's some other items that the Transportation Committee is doing. Okay, Board Member Costello?
It goes by cat, I don't know that name.
Say it again?
You call me Pat, I by my last name.
We're in business.
Business casual, I'm in flight.
Hi, I've spoken up before about trash, and I'm gonna bring it up again. This is my favorite conversation apparently. So, we're still having an issue in our community when it comes to trash. I've complained specifically where the Bodega Lounge is placed, which is in between Fenmore and Rutland. We have dancing trash bins all along Nostrand Avenue corridor. I have spoke to Rita Joseph's office. Rita Joseph has been on the premises. She's also seen the dancing garbage can issues that we have. I'm asking more of the community support as well as can we get DSNY in here? Rita's claiming that we've already purchased some bins. None of the bins have been distributed. We have mountains of trash. It is not appealing. It is also causing more increased vermin in our neighborhood, especially within Nostrand Avenue, all the way up to Clarkson Avenue. I watched an elected official who was on Nostrand Avenue walk past our trash pile as well. So being weary and being tired of the elected officials, which were brought up, for sure, understand, but then we also need to stop enforcing and placing these elected officials who are not doing anything for this community. So I'm asking for DSNY to be present to answer to why we are still having these trash issues within our community. And also I'm asking the community to pay attention to the amount of businesses closing in this community due to the fact that we have landlords that are unwilling to be cooperative. The Bodega Lounge is now one of the businesses suffering and is going to be closing this weekend due to that as well. So again, being weary of elected officials, it is up to us as a community to ensure that these elected officials are working for us because we are the community that they are supposed to be supporting. So that's all I have for today.
Thank you for the commentary. With respect to DSNY, I know that the district manager has a district service cabinet meeting with them, so we can definitely bring those issues to the committee. Was it superintendent you speak to? To the superintendent. If you have specific items, please email that to Dante so that way he can make sure it's part of his meeting with them.
Make sure they come here so they can hear and see the way that they've left this community.
Right. Well, no, and part of it is we can definitely make sure that's a referral to the Environmental Protection Committee as well, so they can have that as an agenda item. So we'll make sure that that gets referred to them. So Dante can take care of some of the service issues. If there are larger policy issues as well, they can discuss that. Sadly, I know that your neck of the woods is not the only one that's going through that. But this is good that you're giving this commentary because that helps us pinpoint where some of these things need to go as well. And there was one last. The only other suggestion I would say, and I'm sorry to hear about Bodega Lounge. The one thing I would say as a public service announcement is if you are a business in CD9, one of the things we are doing is we are trying to work with providing resources. So we have our chair, Vanessa Rautopoulos, she's the chair of our Economic Development Committee. These are conversations that are happening, so this is the plug. Please make sure you're coming to the committee so because we can always use this insight in terms of where the challenges are and the obstacles are for businesses. And hopefully we're able to kind of get people together as well so we can kind of figure out hopefully using the power of the group, what solutions we can bring. Additionally, part of that work is we have small business services for New York City, and a number of other agencies that do provide some assistance that hopefully we might be able to connect you with as well and see if we can help make these businesses sustainable and hopefully they thrive here in the district. Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, we have concluded our public commentary, and again to all the speakers.
Can I make like a 2-minute thing?
It's a late flag.
Sorry, it is related to trash. It just occurred to me.
2 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, so I think Dante may mention this in his district service cabinet report, but there is a public hearing on November 12th with Department of Sanitation about the new containerization rules. And one of the rules is that, I'm sure those of you with single-family homes know that you have to purchase a bin. That's for buildings up to 8 units. But for buildings from 10 to 30 units, they would either need to purchase the 55-gallon bins or opt for on-street containerization. So I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of what that means. You'll lose parking spaces. These bins are very large, just came up a couple years ago at the board. They're ferociously ugly as well. So you may be living with this if these rules are adopted and you have apartment buildings under block and your building owner chooses not to use the smaller bins. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that when Dante mentions the public hearing.
Thank you very much for the comment. Okay, all right, so that concludes the public commentary period. And again, thank you to all those who given comment. I would ask that this is not a conversation that we do once a month. All of our committees also meet on a monthly basis. Please, if you have an issue or a question that you would like to have, especially if it's specific to one of the areas, we have 9 standing committees that meet on a monthly basis. Please make sure you go to the CB9 website to see when the meetings are scheduled for your particular issue or area. And absolutely, we need that feedback, and we welcome everyone to come to these meetings. I always say that we don't know what we don't know as a board. So it's important that we get voices so we know specifically where the areas are that we need to be targeting. But again, thanks everyone for doing this. All right, at this time, we are now going to move on to acknowledgements. We have a number of representatives from our elected officials in offices this evening. Do we have a representative with the Honorable Yvette Clark's office? Come on down, sir.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ellie Slavin, I'm community liaison for Congressman Yvette Clark. We're located at 222. We're located at 222 Lennox Road between Marcus and Austin. Our number is 718-287-1142. So we handle all federal issues. So those of you who are traveling, passports have been not as bad as last year, the year before. They were really backlogged. This time they're more, they are servicing the community quicker. However, make sure your passport is 6 months valid and do apply for your passport early, and it also pays to pay for the extra expediting and next day delivery for your passports. However, if you are in a qualm where you are traveling within 5 days and have no passport, reach out to our office, and they've been very accommodating for the Congresswoman to have their constituents issue passports within 5 days of their travel. But I'll leave you some flyers, which is called Take a Step. If you're traveling, this is a very good way to be connected to consulates and embassies where you're traveling to and get notifications of any emergencies. I'm also leaving some flyers about COVID at home and testing kits that are free. Again, our number is 718-287-1142. Remember, vote early, and the best man will win. Thank you.
I'm sorry? Or you can just leave it with Don. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Great seeing you. All right. This evening, we also have a representative from the Honorable Antonio Reynoso's office.
Everyone, good night. I'm Bianca Stevenson. I'm the Community Board Coordinator at Borough Board, and in this role, I'm the Borough President Reynoso's liaison to Community Board 9. So I'm really happy to see everybody. I missed last month's meeting, so welcome back to the fall season of Community Board meetings. Excited to see everyone. In terms of announcements, the Borough President is inviting everyone tomorrow. There's a workshop, actually a talk, Vital Parks for All, which would be of interest to Community Board 9 given, Prospect Park. So this is in conjunction with the Borough President and the NYC Parks Commissioner. And there's a flyer, I'm going to get some flyers on the table. These are 2 events you're invited to. So this is the one for the parks. And also, on the 30th, you're all invited to Rapping Max Robots, which is an 18-foot sculpture welded by young people that's going to be installed in the park right outside Borough Hall. So from 2 to 5, there'll be a lot of activities and celebrations. Just looking back a little bit, on the 15th, the Borough President hosted a deed theft workshop here at Community Board 9 at Medieval College. I'm sure many of you were there, and this is part of the ongoing work that he will be doing in terms of making sure that we have secure housing. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy your meeting.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stevens. We have also with us this evening a representative from the Honorable Zelma Myrie's office.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Portia Edwards. I'm the District Director for State Senator Myrie's office. I just wanted to bring greetings in this October meeting and just some updates of things that we've done in the last couple of weeks. So last week, Tuesday on the 22nd, we had our district tour. We usually do a 24-hour tour in the district. We visited places like the Sparbs for breakfast. We gave out some Empire Awards to some businesses within the district. We also visited some schools and after-school programs within the district. CCM is a community meditation and counseling after-school program that we did, and Engine 234. It is a majority African-American Engine House on St. John's, on the address 1332 St. John's. So we did that last week. That was absolutely amazing. We also did a screening with Brick last Tuesday in the evening about deed theft. Highlight of that screening, the movie that Brick that created was the deed theft hearing that we held a couple years ago. As you know, deed theft is still a really big issue in our community, and so if you know anyone that's having any issues with that, please feel free to reach out to our office. We can try to help get in contact with the AG's office to be able to start help with mitigating some of the issues that you may be having. Our office is located at 1077 Nostrand Avenue. The telephone number is 718-284-4700 if you have any questions. And we'll be having our Harvest Fest on the 23rd of November. It will be on Lincoln Road between Nostrand Avenue and East New York Avenue. No, Nostrand and New York Avenue. So if you have any questions or concerns about that, just reach out to the office.
Thank you very much, Ms. Evans. Okay, we also have with us this evening a representative from the Honorable Farrah Safran Forrest's office.
So, hi everyone, my name is Meek Samuel. I am the new district organizer and assembly member of Farrah Safran Forrest's office. This is my second month. It's so nice to see you all at this meeting tonight, especially in the community board that does represent the area that I grew up in. So in recent things that we have done for the last month, we just had our housing clinic, which we do in collaboration with Mobilization for Justice, which is appointment only, and usually we have constituents come in with various amount of concerns, some to do with issues with landlords, others related to other issues surrounding property and conflicts with residents and neighbors and stuff like that. So if you are represented by Assembly Member Forrest, you can call or email to set up an appointment for our next session, which is, as I said previously, every third Wednesday of the month. Also, as I'm the new district organizer, if you have any issues or concerns related to unemployment, housing, and the like, and also labor issues, you can always contact the office. I'll be the first one to pick up the phone and help you with these. Reminding you, as everyone else has also said today, early voting has started, so make sure you turn out to vote. And the office is at 55 Hanson Place, 5 minutes away from Barclays Center. And you can contact our office by the number 718-596-0100, or you can contact me by email specifically about constituent concerns on Samuel, SAMUEL, M as in Meeks, at nysemply.gov. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Because we had such a great time the first time, we're going to bring him back up. Mrs. Slavic, a quick announcement.
Apologize, I forgot to mention, If you go to clark.house.gov, has all the information about the members' activities, bills you're sponsoring, co-sponsoring. I don't like to talk much on the floor, but if you go to clark.house.gov, you'll get a tremendous amount of information, and also you can contact the office that way. So again, I apologize if I didn't mention that before. clark.house.gov. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Clark. And Ms. Edwards, please, I think she has another.
So sorry, this is a foggy October month. I wanted to mention, I know that you called up on the governor's office this morning. So last week, I believe, at the CD17 board meeting, the governor's office came and spoke about the community advisory board meeting, the community advisory board that is supposed to be put in place for SUNY Downstate. In that meeting, one of the representatives for the governor's office said that a community advisory board meeting will be arranged before the end of the month. The end of the month is on Thursday. We have not heard anything about a community advisory board meeting yet. We haven't heard anything about who's on the community advisory board. On October 8th, our office sent a letter to the governor requesting information about the community advisory board and all of the things that we were promised over the course of time of us fighting for SUNY Downstate. They did respond to us, however, did not answer the questions the way we would have expected them to. We are still waiting for a meeting to be set up with the governor's office in terms of the community advisory board with dates and information. And so last Monday, we sent out a press release just letting the community know we have been a staunch and avid supporter and fighter of keeping the hospital open, and not even just that, but also holding the governor accountable to the things that she said that she was going to do. And so we have not heard back, and I just want to make sure that the community knows that we have to keep fighting, right? We have to keep fighting, we have to keep putting our foot forward. The governor's office should be here today to give us an update on that community advisory board meeting, but they're not here. And so we need to keep on doing the things that we're doing, continue to put pressure on, like you said, on our elected officials, right? It is very important we put them in office. It's very important that we continue to fight for SUNY Downstate. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because as it is Monday, October 29th, the month is over in 2 days, and we haven't heard anything back on that community advisory board. So just keep that in mind. No, from Senator Meyer's office.
Thank you for that. Okay, at this time, we get a call a representative from the Honorable Crystal Hudson's office.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mondra Robinson. I am the manager of constituent services and community impact and council member Crystal Hudson's office. So just a couple of things that I have on the table. We have our District 35 resource guide, which pretty much gives the things that happen in the office, our Wednesday housing clinic, our Thursday free legal advice in the office, and then on the last Thursday of every month, we have Live On in the office that helps out our older adults with benefits assistance like SNAP, Tree, She, Star, and any Medicare savings program and Medicaid at the office from 9 to 5 every last Thursday of the month. Our office is located at 55 Hanson Place, and the number is 718-260-9191. You can always reach out to us, and I'll give you my personal email as I am the Community Board 9 representative, and my personal email is arobinson@council.nyc.gov. Also on the table is, there's 6 ballot proposals that are on the ballot for this year, and so the council has put out a particular flyer that just kind of gives some of the breakdown for the proposal. That is over there as well. We are gearing up for our participatory budget, and so there's a flyer over there that's going to ask, what do you want to see happen happen with that $1 million that's allocated for the community. So please make sure you reach out and give your answers and give your ideas about what we should do with that, especially over here in this district. And then last but not least, our Thanksgiving community giveaway is going to actually be here on Saturday, November 23rd at 11 a.m. So please, if you know of any families that are in need, there's again flyers that are over in the corner. You can take those, you can feel free to pass them around. And if you would like to volunteer for that, you can also, again, reach out to the office. I know there were a few emails or things that had come to me, one in particular, the 7399 Empire Boulevard, about a meeting. So it is under my understanding that the developer has reached out for a meeting. I'm not sure if there was any type of conflict or anything in terms of them coming out to the October meeting or whatever, but we did reach out to them today. They did say that they did reach out to the board. So I would say just, you guys can figure that out, and, there's something that, you do need additional assistance with, just, you can please CC me on the email, that way you can make sure that happens. Okay? No, so we reached out, they said that they reached out to the board about coming to present to the board, regarding that particular application, and so, what, I said to Dante, which I emailed him, on response today, was that they did reach out. We should coordinate. If there's any issues with the coordination, then you can always just loop me on the email and we can make sure that happens.
So this meeting is perfect.
Okay.
This is coming. Okay? All right. Any other questions?
No more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay. Do we have a representative from the Honorable Darlene Neely's office?
I hope everybody can hear me, because I can hear most of what was going on. So please let me know if you can hear me. Yes? Okay. My name is Ayanna Williams. I'm the Chief of Staff for Councilmember Darlene Neely. Just to go through some services that we offer. Every Monday, we have an immigration specialist. Every Tuesday, we have a housing specialist. Every Wednesday, every first and third Wednesday, we have a food pantry. Every second and fourth Wednesday, we have a representative from Housing Connect that helps people set up the applications and apply for apartments through Housing Connect. Over the last couple of weeks, we had a town hall meeting. We had oath outreach, which we do at a library, so people that have summonses, you come and they look them up and they can resolve them. We are going to have another one, I'm not sure when yet. We also just had a community advisory board meeting this last Saturday, and we will be having our next community advisory board meeting Saturday, November 23rd. It's going to be at Eagle Academy at 1137 Purple Street. Any questions? Which one? November 23rd. 11 o'clock. It usually ends about 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, at this time, do we have a representative from the Brooklyn Public Library?
Good evening. My name is Bruno Rodriguez, and I'm the case manager at the Eastern Public Library, specifically the Literacy Zone. That's 1044 Eastern Parkway, not 10 Grand Plaza, etc. We're a little more down by Promenade, Utica Ave, 34 train stop. I just wanted to talk briefly about some of the events we have upcoming in November. We're going to do a little event with the EOC on Saturday, November 9th. And then we're also going to be doing a one-on-one resume help on November 13th, which is in anticipation for our job fair, which will be on November 20th, which is a Wednesday, or Workforce Wednesdays, which I know we have a few businesses here. If anyone is hiring, please let me know. I'm still recruiting businesses that want to hire locally.
be able to get more access to city funding, more like circulation of their business. And that will be on Tuesday, November 26th. Again, 1044 Eastern Parkway. Finally, I just wanted to briefly talk about some of our services. We're not actively enrolling anyone for our GED program, but that will start up again in most likely December, January for our winter cohort. And that's our GED program just for classes. However, we do walk-in case management when we do referrals. We also do Housing Connect, so feel free to refer anyone to us for that. And finally, we have space for events, so if anyone is interested in maybe bringing the organization for any kind of health literacy, financial literacy, employment opportunities, please let me know. I'll be very close to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, are there any other representatives or elected officials or agencies with us this evening? Do you have to sign that? Okay. All right, so
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see all of you. Happy October. Hope everybody's got their Halloween costume already. That'll be oh boy. All right. So on that note, I'm going to move on to November. We're having, first of all, IDCC Connect, which is enhancement of mental health services located at 921 East New York Avenue. We do casework. We help with benefits, vocational, and food insecurity. And speaking of food insecurities, that is why we are doing our pre-Thanksgiving hot lunch and resource fair. So we'll have our hot lunch, turkey hot lunch. We also have clothing. We're going to be giving away clothing, books, partnering with Diaspora Community Services next door to us. And we'll have some other agencies such as the BPL Adult Learning, which is fantastic, which she just spoke before me. We also will have another couple agencies. So I'm doing 2 events now, so this one is the one later, but we have something earlier that we are actually partnering with, excuse me one second, the community board. Is that correct?
I'm back.
Okay, are you going to talk about this?
Go ahead, I thought I liked it.
Okay, so we're going to be partnering with Community Board. They're doing a pop-up at our office on November 6th, day after Election Day. So they're going to be coming, the board will be coming, National Grid, ourselves, DCS. I think DCAS is coming as of today, the New York Department Citywide Administrative Services, so that will help with jobs and a couple others. So we got a couple things going on this month, and last I just wanted to mention is this resource fair and breakfast at our office. We are going to be doing like on Fridays between 11 and 2. I'm not sure how many Fridays, but this is starting November 15th, where you can come in and we can help you with applications such as SWREE, DREE, Housing Connect, things like that. So we have computers, laptops, and we can work one-on-one with you. All right, thank you so much. Have a great October. Take care. Thank you. What's left?
okay, all right, so that completes the acknowledgements, and that is the conclusion of our public session. Again, I want to thank all those who participated, who gave commentary, who shared information. Okay, this is the okay, so we thank all the elected officials and representatives who come this evening. It's the partnership that is important for us to make sure that we're able to connect the residents to the elected officials who advocate for us and hopefully connect us with resources as well. And again, to all those who provided commentary, this is helpful to us because it helps us focus in on what the issues are on the ground. All right, at this time, we are now going to go to the business session. Madam Secretary, at this time, would you please call the roll?
Adul Rivera. Nicholas Amanar. Fred Baptiste. Rabbi Yaakov Berman. Alita Bess. Augustine Laclau. Kat Bachelot. Kat.
Present.
Suki Chow.
Present.
Christensen, Kendall Christensen. Jolie Cobb. Max Cohen. Eve Shappy Cohen. Saul Carey. Max Roland Davidson. Candace Edwards. Brittany Ellerton. Latoya McGee. Lisa Etienne. Rafaela Godet. Bishop Sylvia Hamilton Gonzalez. Shannon Hartley. Rob Herbert. Yusuf Kursoff. Volney Joseph. Renisha Labari. Maynard Israel Aher. Francisca Leopold. Courtney Lazal. Letwin Mavina. Erin Mazursky. John Renee. Ethan Narva. Denzel Odoro. Yankee Pearson. Vanessa.
Raptopoulos here. You almost said it. You almost tried.
You never wrote Perry. Felice Robertson. Benjamin Rosenberger. Dion Saab. Melissa Sevier. Lillian Swan. Bakari Tadia. Christine Thomas Barrington. Joseph Thomas Serrano. Debbie Timothy. Tyler Ware. Linda Watson Lord, that's me. Teresa Rosen Westergaard. Thank you. Lorianne Wosley.
Is there anyone who didn't hear their name called? Any members of the board who did not hear their name called in response to the roll call?
So those who I didn't hear reply for the name, I'll call you. Rabbi Yaakov Berman, Alita Bass, Jolie Koff, Max Cobain, Eve Cobain, Candace Edwards, Brittany Ellington, Latoya McGee, Raffaello Badawi, Yusuf Herkov, Volney Joseph, Israel Lecker, Francisca Leopold, Erin Mazursky, Denzel Oduro, Yankee Pearson, Lillian Swan, Bakari Pandia, Kristen Thomas Barrington, Debbie Timothy, and Twyla Weir. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the secretary is going to tally up and give us the number of members present. Okay, as she's doing that, I just wanted to get the reminder for all board members. This stretch of the year is always a little bit, it's always a little precarious because we are trying to avoid, making sure that we're not interfering with religious observances as well. So typically, meetings that are typically scheduled for certain days do get moved from that September to December period. October has been one of those months. We will be doing so similarly in December and in November as well. So I need to just make sure that everyone is pleased. Make sure you are checking your emails. The dates that you are normally accustomed to may change. With the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, we are going to have an accelerated schedule. So we will have some meetings taking place earlier than normal. And the same thing happens typically around the end of the year as well with those holiday observations. So please make sure you're checking your emails. Make sure you are coming in and checking in with either the office or with your committee chair.
In attendance tonight, we have 27 present, which gives us a quorum. And we have 13.
All right, so Madam Secretary has announced 27 present, we have a quorum. All right, so at this time, we are going to go on to item number 2, approval of the September 24 General Board meeting minutes. The minutes have been sent out to the board members. At this time, are there any corrections to be made to the minutes? Hold on, the Secretary actually has one correction to make.
On your minutes, I'm looking for the page so I can tell you exactly where it is. There was one misinformation, and it dealt on page 7, item number 9, unfinished business, report of the special orders of election. I'll give you the correction to those minutes now. And it had to do with the vote count. The vote count, Benjamin Rosenberger got 15 votes. Yunella Ramperi, 1. Teresa West, 13. So please adopt your minutes, and they will be corrected in the next month's minutes as matters arising under corrections. But for now, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, so we have one correction for the vote count. for last month's meeting. Are there any other corrections to be made to the minutes from last month? I call for a second time. Do we have any other corrections to be made to the minutes? All right, is there any objection to common consent on adopting the minutes as corrected? Okay, hearing no objection, the minutes are adopted with said corrections. Thank you very much. All right, we are now going to go on to committee reports. All the committees have submitted their report. Well, the committees should have submitted their written reports already. Only those with action reports, action items have been moved to the voting items. At this time, do any committee chairs have any important announcements to make regarding their committees for this month? Okay, hearing none. We are now going to go on to item 4, the district manager's report.
All right, good evening, everyone. All right, first off, we've got some public hearings coming up mostly in November. The Department of Buildings, Section 102-6, Chapter 100, Title 1, the rules of the City of New York is being amended to clarify the provisions of the homeowner resolution program that gives owners of 1 and 2 family homes who have not received any prior violations at the property within the past 5 years an opportunity to correct certain violation conditions prior to receiving a notice of violation and associated penalties. The Department of Buildings will hold this public hearing on Wednesday, October 30th this year at 11 a.m. online. If you wish to email comments, you can email your comments to doe@buildings.nyc.gov. Again, that public hearing is going to be on Wednesday. The Department of Housing Preservation and Development has 2 public hearings coming up. I've mentioned this over the past month, so I'll just briefly go through it. The 2. HPD proposes to add a new chapter 64 to Title 28 of the rules of the City of New York to implement the Affordable Housing from Commercial Convergence Tax Incentives Benefits Program adopted by the New York State Legislature of this year. That public hearing will be held on November 6th. If you wish to email comments virtually, that will be November 6th virtually. If you wish to email comments, you can email your comments to rules@hpd.nyc.gov. HPD will also proposing to a new chapter 63 to Title 28 of the rules of the City of New York to implement the Affordable Neighborhoods for New Yorkers Tax Incentives program adopted by the legislature earlier this year. That public hearing will also be on November 6th. If you wish to email your comments, you can email them to rules@hpd.nyc.gov. That public hearing again will be November 6th, 10:30 a.m. HRA has renoticed this specific public hearing. HRA proposes to amend the Fair Fares program by increasing the income eligibility standard from 120 to 145% of the federal poverty level. This public hearing will take place remotely via Zoom on Friday, November 15th at 10 a.m. If you wish to email your comments, you can email comments to nycrules@hra.nyc.gov. You have up until November 7th to email those comments. The Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, DCWP, is proposing to amend the rules governing general vendors to clarify that qualifying Department of Health and Mental Hygiene mobile food vending license may apply for a DCWP specialized vending license. A specialized vending license is required to vend in certain restricted areas within the city. Currently, the Department of Rules require an applicant for a specialized license to have a valid general vendor's license. However, qualifying holders of either the general license issued by DCWP or mobile food vendor license issued by DOH&H would be eligible to apply for the specialized vending license under the new proposed rules. DCWP will be holding this public hearing on November 21st at 11 a.m. That public public hearing will be taking place virtually. We will have all this in our e-classes. This was mentioned just a little bit earlier. DSNY is proposing to amend its rules relating to establishing a pilot program for the use of stationary on-street containers. DSNY will hold that public hearing on November 12th at 10 a.m. It's going to be on Microsoft Teams. If you wish to email comments, you can email comments to nycrules@dsny.nyc.gov. This rule sets the framework for the Department of Sanitation application of trash containerization requirements to residential buildings with 10 or more units, starting with a limited pilot program. This pilot program designates Manhattan Community Board 9, that's not Brooklyn, but I do think that it's very important to pay attention to the pilot program so you can see what comes out of that. Next up, just a couple of advisories and updates. We have blasted out Clove Road feedback. We have received about 10 emails from members of the public. I believe that the deadline was this past Sunday, but it's still our email, so if you know anyone that has any specific comments on the 975 curb cut, that's what we're talking about, feel free to just have them email the office directly, and we're just going to put all the comments into one packet for the board to submit comment on that matter. The MTA is conducting their fall 2024 customer count survey. The survey will help improve service for customers throughout the system. That survey is available in English, Spanish, Cajun Creole, among other languages. Upon completion of the survey, you can choose to enter into to win a $50 Omni gift card. If you want more information on that, feel free to reach out to the board office. The deadline for that is October 31st on Thursday. Let's see, the TCS New York City Marathon, hosted by New York Road Runners, that's going to take place on the 3rd. The race beginning at 8 a.m. in Staten Island, running through all 5 boroughs. I've looked over the course map and the road closures. There's no closures in our community district, but we will still put it in the e-blast for folks who might be traveling, so you at least know what the closures are. Let's see. We will continue, as we continue to get road closures, traffic advisories, those things, we will blast them out, realizing that we have to blast them out separately from the e-blast so people are aware that this is happening. So I just want to let you all know when we get those, I'll blast it out separately so everyone knows that those disruptions are going to be taking place ahead of time. Just a couple of other kind of housekeeping items. It was mentioned that the developer has reached out to us regarding 7399 Hart Boulevard. We are working to get them in here to talk to everyone about that project. I know it's going to be a big project, so we're working to schedule that to get them in here. Just trying to figure out which meeting works best for everybody, because we assume there will be a decent turnout. So once that happens, everyone will definitely be informed of that. I also received a complaint regarding the B48 bus stop at Franklin and Montgomery, which has apparently just disappeared. I've inquired with the MTA to figure out if there was any consideration to basically rerouting the bus, maybe to Bedford down Montgomery, rather than just taking the bus stop in its entirety. So once I hear more back from the MTA, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date. It was mentioned a little bit earlier that we are going to be working with IDCC, National Grid, for a pop-up at their office over on New York Avenue, East New York Avenue, on November 6th. If you are a National Grid customer and you have your account information, if you have any issues with your account or questions, you can bring your bill or have your information and then speak to someone one-on-one about your accounts directly. So if you know anyone who might need that assistance, definitely follow on the e-blast. We'll send out a flyer for everyone to participate. It was definitely mentioned earlier by one of the elected representatives about participatory budgeting. As we get flyers, we'll make sure that that goes in the e-blast, but I definitely want to encourage people to think about projects, submit projects. If you live on a block, talk to everyone on your block, submit the project as a block association. Weight. So definitely reach out to your neighbors, collaborate, and submit projects so they can get funded for that. And with that, the last thing I have is don't forget to vote next Tuesday, please.
Okay, thank you very much. For the members of the board, are there any questions for the district manager regarding his report? Are there any questions? I'll take the speakers list. Yes. Hold on one second. Add you to the list. All right, second vice chair. Anyone else? Member Chong, I have you. Anyone else have questions for the district manager? Seeing none, we're going to close on those two names. Second vice chair.
Neither was I. So I received it, maybe last week sometime, that bus stop basically was just removed. They're having construction. There is some construction materials and equipment for maybe a soon-to-be building. So they removed that bus stop at Franklin and Montgomery, and they didn't provide any notification. So, go ahead. I'm gonna let them respond. That's first, because I have inquired to see if there was any consideration to at least changing the route so we can get something back there. But removing a bus stop without any notice definitely disrupts the daily flow for a lot of people, especially since that bus stop is right next to Evansville. So, once they respond, I definitely will update the board, and I think that at that point in time, we can make a decision on how we need to move forward together.
All right, so Dante's going to look into that, and he'll get back to what the response is from MTA. Susan.
Just another transportation issue for the next meeting. We have issues with the syncing of the traffic lights on Flatbush Avenue. I was crossing on a walk signal at Lincoln Road, but the overhead traffic light at Maple, which is the next one, was still green, and so a car just zoomed right in front of me through the crosswalk on my walk signal. Either the walk signal should have been delayed or the light should have turned red first ahead on Maple. So just for them to look at that. The syncing with the crossing at Lincoln and the pedestrian traffic light at Lincoln.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much for the report. Okay. At this time, we are actually going to go bring back from the table an item we were postponed. So in the public session, we had a presentation from the governor's office. We do now actually have a representative from the governor's office here. If I could please call to the front, the Director of Intergov Affairs, Ms. Debbie Lewis.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I apologize for my tardiness. I was with the governor since 7 a.m. We've been running around pretty much in Brooklyn all day. Just a quick update. The governor did an election protection press conference this morning nearby an early voting site on Flatbush. I don't know if you all heard the news about that, but there is some great information pertaining to that, and I will actually give you some cards that the Gov has where you can sign up for alerts and information about what she's doing and where she is. Early voting, of course, as you know, is now open, and we have agencies in the community this whole week. If you have issues, you can share with your chair, other members of the dais. If you have issues in the community that's related to state agencies, they can let you know. We will make sure that the agencies take that case and have that information, and we'll see how we can troubleshoot. And the most important, really why I'm
show of hands, how many people visit a local healthcare provider? Like in your community, how many people go to a local healthcare provider? Okay. How many people want to see your local healthcare provider improve services? Improve services. How many people want to see their healthcare provider improve services? Okay, and stay in the community. Okay, so this is about Downstate Hospital, our favorite and beloved Downstate Hospital. Now, before people throw arrows, I always tell people I was born at Downstate. I live in the community. It's very important to me. I always lay the foundation there. My sister went to school there. It's very important for me. But what we are doing now is putting the Community Advisory Board into full motion. Folks are going through the background process, and we should be announcing the members of the Community Advisory Board really soon. What I need you all to do is tell your neighbors, your family members, your friends, that they should be engaging with the Community Board. They should say now what they would like to see happen at Downstate. There was an allocated amount of money, which can shift, but there was an allocated amount of money for Downstate and its improvements that's already set. With that money, your recommendations can guide whatever that vision is forward. But I need you all to be active, and not protest active, action active. Saying what you want to see, how quickly you want to see it, what you think works, what you think don't work, okay, or doesn't work. Okay? So I need you to be active with the leaders in the community board. Share that information as they begin to compile that. And we are talking to 9, 14, 17, 18, even though some of those folks frequent Downstate Hospital. So everyone is on board and on mission to really push this forward. In addition to that, we've been talking to clergy members who've been very outspoken about what they want to see and how they want to see it rolled out. We want to replicate that in the community with all of you. Right? Does anybody have any questions?
All right, hold on a second. Okay, how many people have, raise your hand if you have questions. We got this up, hold on. All right, Ms. Newsom. Yeah, we've got it, I've got it, we got it. I'm taking a speaker. Hold on a second. We're gonna take a speaker list. Ms. If you could please keep your hands up, I'm gonna take the list right now. Ms. Newsom, I see you, hold on. Ms. Bernard, I see you as well. Ms. Lipkin, I see you. Ms. Westerdahl, I see you as well. Hold on. No, I got it. I got it. Ms. Watson Ward, I have you. Ms. Rusello, I have you as well. Kat, I have you as well. Sorry. Absolutely.
I just want to say that we've been actively working with the assembly member, I almost called him congressman, the assembly member and the senator in this area who have given us recommendations as well. And they have heard from you all. So all of that has come down and trickled down to us as well.
Thank you very much for that. All right, last call. Anybody else who wants to ask a question to the director? Anyone else? All right, we're going to close the list on these questions then. Ms. Newsom, you're first. I got the only working one.
Thank you for that question. So CB14 has a process where they have their health committee meet, they invite members to the health committee, and they also have an active
Yes, that's my recommendation, because I've seen it work. So if you want to do that, if you have, I see you shaking up, we have that. So if that, maybe coordinating with them to making sure we share that out with others.
Ms. Bernard.
My name is Cheryl Bernard. I am with the community of East Flatbush, who has had Kingsbrook Hospital closed down. Kingsbrook is closed, it's gone. We have a men's shelter. The men torment the area. They torment the community. I have on my video just from last night alone, two separate men, just to give you an idea. The community has many, okay? Now they're threatening downstate. Kings County is overwhelmed. When you go there, you're going to be there for hours, and you want to close down downstate. In addition to it, New York State wants to build this non-vital Brooklyn. Over 7 acres, they want to put 1,100 and more units, okay? No parking. They want to give us bike lanes. When they give us the bike lanes, it's going to take away the little parking we already have. But yet, there's a New York State land called Creedmoor that was also a mental facility where you guys, over 58 acres, are planning to put 2,600 or 2,500 units with parking, with community green space, with, I mean, it's just a beautiful place to live, Creedmoor. How can you justify putting this in our neighborhood, not speaking to the community? I mean, the people across the street don't even know what's going on, okay? So you want to add people over 7 acres. I mean, I'm sure everyone here can do the math. 58 acres, 2,600. 7 acres, over 1,100. We're getting no parking. In addition to that, 3 of them are men's shelters. 3 shelters. One is a MICA shelter, mentally ill, chemically addicted. One man once, it's not even here yet, drank water from a sewer, okay, walking by. We feel for these people, we understand that everyone needs, but we need a fair share all over Brooklyn, Bronx, Staten Island, all these other places. You're cramming a men's shelter, a senior shelter, a MICA shelter, and then not too far, you already have a project shelter where it's aging out youth aging out of foster care. Listen, that's going to be a haven for people to hang around and wait to recruit these young people. You're destroying our neighborhood. You are destroying our neighborhood, and you're just, and what you want to do now, like downstate, when are you going to talk to us about this? When can someone actually, we oppose non-violent Brooklyn being built. When can someone meet with us in the community, in the neighborhood? Yes, the community board now. When can we actually have someone to listen to us and hear what we have to say?
So I was at the last meeting where you were at and you spoke at as well at the school. And the representatives, the developers, all those people came and they spoke with the community and answered questions. And that was spearheaded by Assemblymember Cunningham. So I was there when that conversation happened. So I'm not sure. I know the GPP for Creedmoor is completely separate and apart from what's happening here. And I know that folks wanted adjustments, and I do believe that the Assembly member fought for adjustments. I can't speak to the details of that because some of the project is completed and some of it is still in open discussion. But he is active and on it and has expressed the needs and what he would like to see based off of the community views. So, and that is living with our Empire State Development Team and HCR, and they're actively aware of all of the concerns from the community. So I'll leave that answer there. It may not completely satisfy you, but that is God's honest truth about what's happening with that project and the conversations that have been had, not just one, maybe 10, on that project and the development of that project.
Okay, before we go forward, I just want to make sure everyone, please, just in the interest of time, make your questions concise so that way we can move along.
Right,
here.
I'm gonna make it short. First of all, thank you for coming today. What is your name, so we just know?
Sorry, Debbie Lewis.
Oh, great, great. So, a couple things I just want to say that, first of all, there are meetings at downstate. I guess way back in the summertime, and you had a lot of community input then, so that's a great starting point to take that feedback. That was, you know, we had groups there, stakeholders and so that was already a lot of data that you got. But moving forward, I just want to say that this hospital is very unique in a number of ways, but specifically, they have the support groups. I don't think they have them so much anymore, because they have cut down the staff for the outreach department to maybe one person, it used to be 4 or 5, and that outreach is super important. I mean, one time I just, unfortunately, going to say myself, my blood pressure was low, I almost fainted, I was at an event that I ran, and, you know, she sat me down and made sure I ate something. But the point is that outreach, where they go and do the, you know, the blood pressure, the resources, services, is vital to this community. It's one of the only, it is the only hospital that does this kind of service. The other thing is, I went to their recent health fair about 2 months ago. I never went to, I've been doing my own events for 25 years, and I've never seen an event so engaging from all of the grandparents fair. They had children, they had grandparents, and in between all kinds of activities, engagement, entertainment, but, you know, of course, information. No other hospital does that. I mean, Brooklyn or even Manhattan, I've never seen anything like that. They did another one on autism. So we need this service. Each vendor from the hospital, many of which represent the different departments and services that hospital. It's not just a one-stop shop. There are just so much in that one hospital. So it's vital. That's all I want to say. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Westervelt.
Hi, Portia Edwards was here earlier from Senator Myrie's office, and she complained quite a bit about the lack of engagement with the governor's office related to this advisory board. And she says you're supposed to let her know by the end of the month about the advisory board, but there's been no communication. So I'm wondering, how are you selecting the advisory board? Who's on this advisory board? If you are indeed going to keep your promise to Senator Myrie's office and have the board announced by the end of the month, which is just a couple of days away. She made a point of letting us all know this. Unfortunately, she's not here because I'm sure she could have more clear words with you than I would. So can you let us know?
Yeah, so I haven't been in communication with Portia. I've been in communication with the Chief of Staff, Godfrey, and I have a chain of emails and text messages with Godfrey. And he's well aware of the current status of the advisory board. They made their one recommendation, and that person has been appointed to the board. The rest of the board is in background. When everyone is cleared, the names of the advisory board will be released.
So related to the community board, is somebody from the community board on the advisory board that we're supposed
By law, one representative in coordination with CD9 and 17 has to be appointed to the board.
So who's that going to be?
Between 9 and 17, once that person gets their background, the community board can announce it to you all. The governor will also release all of the names for the members of the community advisory board.
So you've already selected?
There was a recommendation that was made by 9 and 17, yes. So that person is in background, and once they pass background, that name will be released.
Okay, Kat, good, sorry. Kat Bucello. To Kat Bucello.
Hi, my name is Kat. I'm a business owner in this district, and just curious about where we can air grievances that will actually be responded to regarding a state agency, the State Liquor Authority to be exact, when it comes to a lot of businesses in this area. Me, myself, I'm still waiting on a simple refund for over 14 months now, as well as communications with the SLA office. I've heard from other business owners as well. It does seem very discriminatory with the way that we are treated. So just looking to figure out where are we actually going to find support, where can we actually have grievances that will actually be heard with a reasonable response.
So we actually had the commissioner, well, the chair of SLA in Brooklyn today at a number of locations. I can take your contact information. She also met, I don't know who your representative is, but if it is Assemblymember Cunningham, I believe she's in contact with him to make sure that all of the businesses that has issues is well represented and that there's active responses. One thing you guys should know is that the governor has great memory.
loves small businesses, and she does not forget where small businesses come from. She herself had to start there. Her family, they came from small business. They opened up a women's safe house in Buffalo. So they had a small business, and she continues to support small businesses. So you need support with SLA, I will give you the support with SLA. I will make sure that they have your information. If you speak to any of the local members, that is exactly what I do. Connect the agencies to the members who are getting the constituency cases. Unfortunately, we're not at every single community board, but when we are engaged and active, and there hasn't been a governor's office who's done something like this to this magnitude, and she's making sure that we're in the communities and we're talking to people. So I will make sure that you have the contact and the information that you need. Okay?
Okay, we exhausted the speakers.
This is to piggyback off of your initial recommendation that you stated that what you feel as though a best practice for the community board is for us to be more engaged and to utilize an aspect of the QR code. I haven't been part of this community board for a long time, but I've been part of this community for over 40 years. What I've seen coming in attending these community board meetings over the past 10 years is I believe that we have a very effective amount of stakeholders who are actually doing their due diligence in regards to reiterating information, such as this large project that's taking place. So when you stated that earlier, are you deeming that just the aspect of in addition, because we've been very active, not only with this project, but also Project Yes, and all of these other eyesores that come into our community. Are you stating that you believe that this is the most effective way to get to the governor, just specifically for you? Because we don't always necessarily have the ability to trickle down some of those aspects of technology, like utilizing QR codes, which aren't always compliant, depending upon the type of phone that individuals are using. And are you stating that then our community board isn't active enough in regards to this situation and how we communicate and how we channel our communication? Specifically for that, specifically in regards to downstate.
So I'm not saying that you should, it is a recommendation. They said they have an electronic process to collect information already. If that exists, use that process. I also said if you want to write it on paper, if you want to send it by pigeon mail, whatever you want to do, I will take that information or you can share it with your leadership here and they can relay that information over. Remember, by law, there is a recommendation from 9 and 17. So there's one appointee who can take all of that information and share it. In other community boards, they are not, I went to one community board, there was about 75 people in the room, 10 people knew what was happening. Which is why we're doing this engagement again. Not everyone has the same attendance. I know you guys need quorum, and when that quorum happens, people are active, cool, but there are others that pop in and out of meetings who don't know what's happening. And so that's why we're actively engaging and saying, hey, please tell a neighbor, tell a friend. It's just a friendly reminder. If the neighbor or friend doesn't use technology, it's fine. Have them write a letter, have them drop something off to the office, share that information. The amount of data that has come in does not represent the community in its entirety. We need to make sure that happens. My mother-in-law died in downstate in February, but they gave me an extra 2 weeks with her because I moved her from one hospital to that one, and they were able to give us that extra 2 weeks. I made sure my whole family gave feedback as to what they would like to see happen at downstate. That's how close we are. So I'm just asking and pleading with you guys to share, because it can't just be me, one little black girl from Brooklyn, making the complaints to this big body organization and others. So I need you guys to help and support the initiatives that are happening. Our community is diverse. We need everybody's voice. Your neighbor, your friend, your kids, whatever it is. Everybody needs to be active, not just you as members here, but engaging others that do not come to the community board meetings. That's my plea, that's my ask. Okay? Now, I will give you contact information. Did we exhaust the list?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll give you my contact information. Now, I'm going to say this because people like to come in and make promises and say things. I'm not that person. I'm going to tell you guys this right now, plain and clear. My sister's a city council member. My mother was a 1199 member. She worked in the hospital for 40 years. We are very honest. If you don't know know me, some of you know me. Isn't today the 777? Oh, it's the 28th, okay. Some of you know me, but we need to make sure that we're sharing information and being active. So I will give you contact information, and should you need assistance with the agency, or you feel like maybe your information did not get passed down for what you want to see at downstate, send it to me. I will make sure that it is in one place, okay? So my phone number is 518-491-0049. And my email is Debbie, D-E-B-B-I-E, .Lewis, L-O-U-I-S, @exec.ny.gov. Fred also has this information, and he can share it all with you. Okay?
Can you do it one more time really fast?
Sure. Phone number again, 518-491-0049. And then the email is debbie.lewis@exec.ny.gov. And my first order of business is making sure SLA comes into the district, because Crystal Hudson also said the same thing. Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, all right. We are going to come back to order. So we are now at Chairman. Okay. All right, I've heard the cries of the people. So I'm going to do my very best to try and open this report very quickly. There are a couple of points that I do want to talk about in terms of how we're operating as well. So we're going to try and go through this. Did all the board members get a copy of the written copy of the chairman's report? Okay, good. It's in bullet format. I definitely understand that that is something that we're going to try and make sure we're doing on a go-forward basis. Hopefully this expedites the report. All right, number of items. First of all, very quickly, I want to say thank you to all those who were able to support the Veterans Appreciation Day Parade on the 26th. I'm very proud that VKCB9 is able to say that we were partnered for 2 years. This is the second annual one, and we've been a partner for both years. So I want to thank all the members for supporting, and I want to, my hope is that this becomes something that is an annual thing. It happens right here in the heart of Brooklyn, and this is our opportunity to honor those who have made that sacrifice and commitment to the country to serve in the military. One of the important things that happened as well was that there were resources that were shared for veterans. At the conclusion of that parade, we definitely want to make sure that we're able to keep that list and hopefully keep that in-house as well, so that we're able to refer people as well who need services. If you know veterans, there are definitely a number of benefits that are available on the local, state, and federal levels. Please feel free to direct them to the board office so we can try and connect them with some of those benefits. Some of those include if you are a homeowner over a certain age, there are tax exemptions that you can get on your home. There's access, or we can connect them with, service providers who connect them with VA benefits as well. We can hopefully connect them with also the New York City Department of Veteran Services. That also has a number of things, including starting businesses, MWBE opportunities, and so on and so forth. All to say that there's a wealth of information that we want to make sure gets out to all veterans in the district. I also want to share that I mentioned earlier I had a meeting with the 71st Precinct. One of the things we are trying to do is we want to make sure that they are partnered with us, that we have a direct line where we're able to share these community complaints and issues. So we are trying to get them to commit to coming and having a presence at our public safety committee meetings. So for everyone who has an issue of, there are chronic issues that you've had in your neighborhoods, in your blocks, please, I encourage you to come to the public safety meeting. Next month's meeting is scheduled for November 14th, but also please feel free to contact the district office if you have any issues. It's when we get that communication, that's how we're able to actually relay that to the 71st and hopefully see if we can address some of the problems that we've had. I also want to share very quickly that at the beginning of the meeting, I read the rules of conduct. Our rules of conduct have been in effect since 2016. So one of the things that I had a conversation with Corporation Counsel, which serves as our lawyer, and one of the things we will probably need to do is update and revise that code of conduct to make sure it's reflective. I think one of the issues and challenges that we've had is that there are certain First Amendment issues with some of the language in there. So we are working with lawyers to make sure that we can amend that to make sure that it satisfies that as well. But at the same time, making sure that we are very clear on the values we have here and how we operate here at CB9 for all of our meetings. Vital Brooklyn, there was a question about that earlier. So we have reached out to the Empire State Development Corporation to get updates on the project and ensure that there's a steady communication that happens with regards to this as well. So we want to know, one, what's going on with the project, but two, also make sure that there's an accountability to make sure that they are following up and responsive to the community in case of, when there are issues, how we're following up. We know exactly who to contact if there are issues and who's responsible, and make sure that we get timely resolution for that. So we are waiting for a response from that, but when that does come, we are making sure that that is going to be communicated out as well. The hope is to hopefully get them to do a town hall where we can re-engage and get that conversation done. For board members, I just want to reiterate, I know we're just starting, but at the same time, this is all, again, as I said, one of the tough parts of the year. So board and committee attendance is crucial. Madam Secretary read the roll. We got to 27 names who are here this evening. We have 50 on our roster, which means we have not 100%. And I get that, but we need to make sure that we are doing better in terms of making sure we are serving the community. We are coming to the board meetings. We are able to complete our agendas. And again, I want to reiterate that committees are critical as well, because that's where the bulk of the work gets done. We count on our committees to do the vetting, to look at proposals, to ask the questions, so that way by the time they get here, it's not as much of a lift for the board to do, because it's harder to try and get a proposal when 50 of us have questions at the same time. With regards to the conduct of meetings, again, I just want to say that, I appreciate the questions and the comments and the feedback. So definitely to that effect, that's why we're trying something different in terms of trying to see if we can get those reports printed and to you sooner. There are trainings that have been offered by the Civic Engagement Commission. So there are trainings on how to do meetings effectively, on Robert's Rules of Parliamentary Procedure. So we would encourage all members to take advantage of that as well. We are looking at ways to streamline and make things go faster here at this level. One item I wanted to say about the conduct of meeting is, we allowed a little bit more. One of the things I try to do is get the speakers lists, because that enables us to identify who has questions and comments. I would ask that people please listen. I call 1 or 2 times for that. Please make sure, if you have your question, to raise your hand so that we can kind of gauge how much time we're committing to a certain item as well. And if we have lots of questions, sometimes that means we're not ready for the question. And that's okay as well, but please be responsive to that. City of Yes. So the City Council is in review right now. There have been a number of hearings that have happened. There are still conversations. CB9, I'm very proud to say that we did come up with a number of recommendations with respect to that. We're starting to have conversations with the local electeds as well, in terms of letting them know what our thoughts were with that. That we did vote no in terms of the City of Yes, but we also did have some constructive parts of it as well. Some recommendations in terms of things that might actually be of use to the community. But I do want to be very clear that and I want to be very clear with some of the electeds I've spoken with, in terms of there's a feeling that this is a wholesale giveaway of everybody gets an extra 10-15% bonus, but what is coming back to the community, and what opportunities does the community have in terms of saying, this is what works for us or what doesn't work for us. I think that's critical and crucial, and we're making sure that we're advocating on that one. Very briefly, just to touch on the advisory board, I want to thank Debbie Bush for coming this evening. It is a conversation, again, I think that CB9 has been very vocal about this, and we are determined to take a leadership position in this. I have had conversations with my counterpart in CB17, so we have actually come up with a name in terms of who is going to represent on the advisory board. At this time, we are not at liberty to share that, because that process needs to play through in terms of the background checks and everything. But the conversation I have had with CB17 is we are going to be working together on this, because it's not a 17 issue, and even though it's not in 9, it does affect us. And there are a number of other community boards I've spoken with that are impacted as well. Downstate has a catchment of 1.2 million people. So it's important that we get this right. It's important that the feedback comes. So you will be hearing about engagement coming on the community board level, but we absolutely want to make sure that the advisory board, once constructed, is also doing the necessary outreach. So we want a multiple channel. We're going to be looking at different ways. We're going to look electronic. We're looking at different ways of getting it out. But the best way is word of mouth. We're asking, tap your neighbor and say, do you know what's going on with Downstate? Do you need information? This is where we can get it from. It's crucial. This is all hands on deck. We need everybody on board to get this done, to get it right. To get it right. All right. I just wanted to make 2 last notes. with regards to complaints. It's crucial. When we have complaints, to please make sure we are telling the district office, or even better yet, please make sure you register the complaints with 311 wherever it's possible or feasible, because that makes it a thing for the city, where now there's a reference number for it, and it's something that we can reference and look at a history on it. And when you have multiple complaints, guess what? Now it goes from just one issue to perhaps it's policy, budget, or whatever else has to be done. It's a different conversation. But it enables us to have the conversations we need to have. After you've done the 311 call, if it's possible, please make sure you call the district office. Dante, Mia, and colleagues are very good in terms of being able to do that follow-up, so we can chase it directly after that. But that's the reason why, you know, it's important and it's crucial to make sure that we're doing that. It's one thing if I complain to my neighbor, but if it's another thing to make it official, and we hold people accountable for that as well. Last but not least, voting. Early voting has started. Elections are going to be next week, Tuesday on the 5th. Got it right. Yeah, next week, Tuesday on the 5th. One of the things I have heard just in passing is that sometimes the information is incorrect. So please make sure you're checking your polling places, making sure you're registered. And if you have problems with polling places, please, again, same theory. Contact 311. Let them know. Put the complaint in. Let us know as well. So that way, if there's something that needs to be corrected, we can actually jump in and hopefully intervene as quickly as possible. But please don't let anything fester if it's, you know, if you see it. Please make sure you're reporting that as well. That is all I have on my report for informational purposes only. I just wanted to make one note. I know that there was a motion on the floor last month that we tabled with regards to adding time limits. I would just ask your indulgence in terms of if we're able to hold off and let's see if we're able to make this work. I think it's better for us to usually not to over-prescribe and lock ourselves into things. I think it's easier and better when we work together to see how we can come up with a solution that makes it better here on this end. With that being said, obviously, if it doesn't work or we find that later on it's perhaps necessary, we can make those changes. But let's try and see how it works, and let's see if we can work together on this one. Thanks again, everyone. And that's all I have. I will take questions. Calling for a second time. Any questions? Yes, I'm sorry.
So while we wait for you to convene in regards to giving us what we think would be best for our time issue, or coming up with a structure or a plan, as I had mentioned.
I'm sorry. I can't hear you. He's going to
While you're asking us to hold off in regards to my recommendation at our public safety meeting in regards to how we manage our time here for our meetings, which are now going on over 2 hours, will we be working on any aspects of in our next meeting or in any of our additional smaller subcommittees where we're making recommendations? I've made recommendations before where I think that we can work off of it. Thank you and congratulations for utilizing the bulleted system. But are we proposing anything in regards to that? You're asking us to hold off and be patient, but I think that at minimum there could be some recommendations, or can we, within the community board, outside of myself of course, make those recommendations to you, and can we streamline it?
No, absolutely. I mean, if there is feedback, I mean, I think this is the first step in terms of, we heard some of the feedback last month. I want to be also very careful in terms of, I understand sometimes it's time consuming. But I think given the significance of a lot of the issues that we had today and the amount of work that we had, sometimes the meetings go a little bit longer. What we can do is make sure that we are actually being concise when we're asking questions. This is not the time to say we're going to do 5 minutes soliloquy and show how much I learned in school in terms of speech. Get to the point, ask the questions, and then we move on. And again, it's one of those things we're going to grow as a group. If we realize there's a lot of questions on something, that probably means that we're not ready for the conversation. That should go back to a committee, or we should figure out a mechanism to have that dialogue. But absolutely, to your point, feedback. Let me know. You can let me know, let the district office know. You could always feed that to the executive committee as well, where we can get that information, we can see what tweaks we can make. But I don't want to go as far as to say as every meeting will be 2 hours. Hopefully we will get much closer to that and under that and beat that time. But I also want everyone to be prepared in terms of there's a lot of work that people depend on us to do. When it comes to LPC applications, when it comes to cannabis applications, when it comes to CPC applications, when it comes to a number of things, that's our job, that's the role. We're just going to try and make it so that way we get through it as quickly as possible and expeditiously. Okay. Thank you for the question. Yes, please. Understood. And per the rules of conduct, if I recognize the question, they can speak during this session. The quick point is this: that's part of the reason why we push these conversations to the committees, because that's really where it should happen. That's why we say, listen, if there's issues like that, if it's a complaint, it's probably better to go to Dante because he can give that time and get that detail. If it's something larger, it's better in a committee setting because we're not as time constrained. That committee has an hour and a half, 2 hours to do dedicated just to that area. If there's things other than that, those are conversations. I'm pretty reachable, so it's like if anybody has any questions after that, we can do that. All right, we're going to go back to order. Are there any board members who have questions? If not, we are going to continue. We're going to go to the voting session. Okay, thank you very much. All right, we are now going to go to the voting session. All right, LPC applications. First application we heard this evening was for 25 Maple Street, located between Bedford and Flatbush Avenues. Just as a note, for both of the LPC applications, they went before the Housing Committee this month, but the Housing Committee did not have a quorum. So there was no recommendation from the Housing Committee. It did go before the exec, which forwarded it to the board for consideration for this evening. So at this time, do we have any questions on, well, let me ask this. Is there any objection to combining these two into one single resolution for approval? Is there any objection? Fair enough. We'll consider them one at a time. All right, so item A, 25 Maple Street, Bedford Avenue. The applicant came and presented. I will take a motion at this time to approve this application. Is there a motion? Moved by Kendall Christensen. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Blackwell. All right. Questions? Speakers list. Anyone who wishes to speak on the motion, please raise your hand. Anyone who wishes to speak on the motion, please raise your hand. Okay, hearing no questions or comments, we're going to close on that. We are going to vote at this time. Is there any objection to common consent on the first item? We have an objection. All right, all those, well, Madam Secretary, let's call the roll. We're going to call the roll once to make sure we have attendance. After that, we're just going to make sure that. Yeah, actually, just call the roll. The Secretary is going to call the roll when she calls your name. Yes, if you are in favor, or no. This is also going to count for attendance. The next one should go much more quickly.
Adul? Nicholas Almanar?
Yes, yes, in favor.
Yes. Fred Baptiste?
Yes, in favor.
Augustine Blackwell?
Yes.
Kat Marcello?
Yes.
Suki Chow?
Yes.
Suki?
Yes.
Kendall Christensen? Max Roland Dennison?
Yes.
Lisa Etienne?
Yes.
Bishop Sylvester Hamilton Gonzalez?
I'm still here.
Yes or no?
I'm still here.
Are you in favor or yes or no?
Oh, yeah, oh, this is the vote?
This is the vote.
I'm going to abstain. Thank you.
Shauna Hartley?
Yes, in favor.
Yes?
Yes.
Volney Joseph?
Yes.
Renisha Labari? Yes. Mena Lagote? Mena Lagote. Letwin Movana? Letwin? Ethan Norman? Vanessa?
Yes.
Unetta Ron Perry. Felice Robertson. Benny Rosenberger. Dion Saab. Dion? Melissa Severe? Joshua Thomas Serrano? Linda Watson Lord, yes. Teresa Lesterdorf? Lorianne Woolsey? The vote, 2 noes, 1 abstention, and 21 yes. Vote carries.
Okay, thank you. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Are there any board members who did not hear their name called or did not vote? Okay, the vote is 21 in favor, 2 opposed, 1 abstention. That is 24 votes. We have fallen below quorum. So unfortunately, we are not able to continue the voting session at this time. We have a full 50. What? Dante, can you confirm, what's the member count? It is 50, correct? It is 50, no, we do have a full roster assigned of 50. There should be 50 members. There's probably a member missing for that.
He quit economic development a year ago, and he hasn't been back.
In your minutes at that meeting, we had 49 people. Since then, 1 other person has been reinstalled, stated to our board. So tonight, so when I called, it's 50. That's why I told you there were 27 people. And when Fred was talking about the attendance, I told him there's just 54% of us. So I told you at the beginning, there were 27 present, 13 absent. So now our membership is 50, so everything has to be out of 50.
Okay, so listen, so at this time, we do not have a quorum, so we are not able to continue with the voting session. There will be, and this is the consequence of when we don't come, and this is the reason why specifically this is an agenda item. So at this time, we are going to adjourn. We will contact all board members for applicants, if you have questions, I will be here for a few moments, so if there's any questions regarding applications, we will discuss it, discuss how we're going to proceed. So with that, Madam Secretary, please note that we are adjourning. Time is now 9:39 p.m.
I mean, they have to understand that